All right, it's day 18, and the gods of Master of Malt have given us Dalmore. Sorry, Jimmy. But I will talk. I'm going to talk about coloring again, and I'm going to sort of side partially with. I'm going to side with both sides. So, yeah, that's Dalmore, all right. I mean, what is there to say about Dalmore? We haven't said a dozen times on the show. It's slight orange notes. It's super sweet. A little bit of barrel, a little bit of mash, barley flavors. Rich and fruity and coming after the Talisker, it's a little thin tasting and a little bit of a bitter finish coming after the Talisker. Talisker ended salty but not bitter. This ends slightly bitter. So coloring, why do people do coloring? There's really only one reason, and that is marketing on the shelf. By and large, consumers, if you're going for mass market, believe that darker whiskey is better whiskey, the same way that consumers believe that older whiskey is better whiskey. Neither of those things are true, but it doesn't matter. And you can either, as a marketer, speaking as a marketer, you can either fight the insane losing battle of, well, if we just need to educate the customer. No, bullshit. Any company that considers it to be their business to educate the customer should be bankrupt pretty quickly. Because it never works. Customers don't want to be educated. People, certain kinds of people want to be educated, right? But consumers as a whole do not walk around their daily lives looking to be taught about things. We're just too damn busy. And so it's easier to just give them what they're looking for than argue with them about why it shouldn't be what they're looking for. And so it's easier, and it will result in more sales. Both of those are common sense decisions for a marketer. Now, if you lie about the coloring, that's when it becomes problematic. But Dalmore is pretty upfront about it. They'll do some certain shady things or weird things, like why would you put a color spectrum of aged whiskey on the back bar saying the example of whiskey in a barrel from a distillery that's known to color things? It feels a little silly, but you know, so I get from the purists, it feels to me like whiskey purists who hate E150 coloring, they feel like they're not getting a chance to make a fair judgment on a whiskey. It feels like it's being dumbed down. It feels maybe mildly condescending. And they want just the, like Hemingway, the truth, straight, no chaser. And reality, straight, no chaser, no filters, you know? And I get that. And so when someone's playing the marketing game and doing things like coloring whiskey, it could feel like they're pandering to the lowest common denominator. I don't know. I don't get it. I think at the end of the day, if you think the whiskey tastes good, I don't give a shit how it got there. And I believe that about anything. Now I think we have to have rules, and I think that there are some best practices that are best practices for a reason, but usually when someone breaks those best practices, the whiskey tastes like crap. E150 is one of those things that I've tried the Dalmores with and without E150, and I can't tell the presence of the coloring and taste. Maybe it's there, but if it is, it's beyond me. Now, you may not like Dalmore because it's a slightly walnut, slightly waxy, slightly bitter, and sweet whiskey all at the same time. But that doesn't mean Dalmore for being who they are. That just means I don't like Dalmore. That's fine. I don't like bourbon as much as I like scotch. That's not a statement about bourbon as a category. So I get it from both sides. That's why it's hard for me to drop the hammer on anybody in one direction. But at the end of the day, if you think it tastes good, then drink it. And this is such a drinkable whiskey, and it's such a great entryway for a lot of people who didn't think they were ever going to like whiskey or scotch, including, I think, my mom, who is slowly inching her way into the scotch world and digs Dalmore. And so even if only for that, you got to have a little affection for them. So, all right, end of my minor, not nearly as insulting rant as before. We'll see you guys tomorrow on the 19th. Till then, may your crazy stay this side of legal, and may you return before we have time to miss you. Cheers.